Gosh, I have to tell you how hard it is to have watched season 4 of the Tudors, part 1, the first 5 episodes, and how hard it has been to film that video for you. There are so many cringing scenes where I'm like, argh! But I had to do what I had to do, so that's what I did, and I did it for you. Welcome to this History Police video on the Tudors season 4, part 1. And let's dive into what is probably the worst season of the show.
And maidenly behavior. It seems incredible to have obtained such a perfect jewel of womanhood, who bears towards me such perfect love. A love that will not only bring me the peace and tranquility I desire, but may also bring forth the desired fruits of such a marriage. To Queen.
Gosh, it is so hard to watch that show. It is so hard to watch that. Well, he was supposed to be way older than her, but she looks so stupid. Like, the portrayal of Catherine Howard is so unbearable to watch. And if you want a very good biography, may I recommend to you, Gareth Russell's book on Young and Fair, on Catherine Howard, probably the best biography on Catherine Howard, or one of the best. And because this show just shows you how frivolous and stupid she was, and there's just no depth to her character. So the first 5 episodes is really about the downfall, or the rise, the quick rise, and the really quick downfall of Catherine Howard, because the rest of the series is going to be on Catherine Parr. But it's just unbearable to watch, because they made this character, the Catherine Howard here, you don't feel anything for her. It's very rare that you have that feeling of like compassion for her, that you want to protect her. And I really believe that her real story, and I'll put down below the link to my video on Catherine Howard, because I do feel a lot for this young woman who was completely abused, who suffered so many injustices, and who has been betrayed by the ones who should have protected her, and basically sent to the big wolf of England, we could call him like that, Henry VIII. No chance of really being successful, unless obviously she had a son. Because obviously for women at that time, all that mattered for Henry VIII, could you have a son or not? You'll be saved. So, but it's quite cringing to watch and unbearable to watch this type of dynamic between the two. And I'm really going to focus here obviously on Catherine Howard, how she's portrayed. Also, I'm obviously going to focus on my favorite character of the show for season 4, who is obviously Princess Mary.
Lady Mary? Madam. It gives me such pleasure to meet you. The king talks about you often, no, all the time, with such affection.
It's his daughter, right?
It is my dearest wish that you and I may be kind and loving and warm to each other. After all, Lady Mary, you are now my stepdaughter.
I shall attend upon your Majesty whenever your Majesty chooses to invite me.
Thank you. Will you stay a while? My maids have made some cakes.
No, thank you. I bid you a good day.
That was one of my favorite scenes, because here you have a real clash between the portrayal of Catherine Howard is so stupid, very annoying, very young, very annoying. And obviously Princess Mary is so dignified, so much wiser, so much smarter, and like being like, no, we're not gonna be friends. And obviously you have like the classy Princess Mary, and the other one who doesn't really know how to play this game. And that's where, again, like, I think there's a missed opportunity about Catherine Howard. I would just have liked, I guess, that she was made a bit more human, and that we feel more compassion. Because honestly, in that show, you just roll your eyes and roll your eyes and roll your eyes all the time while watching her. And if I'm honest, you just want to slap her from time to time, because she's really getting on everyone's nerves. And I think she deserved a better portrayal, really.
Joan,
You're not pleased to see me?
Of course I'm pleased.
We used to be so close, didn't we? You know the unfeigned love my heart has always borne towards you. You are going to give me a position, I presume.
I may, but you must understand.
Otherwise, I must persist in my wretchedness, in my misery. Say you will not turn me away. Do you remember when you-know-who used to come in? Late at night? And slip into bed?
For God's sake, be careful what you say.
So here is the character John Bulmer, who was assigned to Catherine Howard. Here again we have the portrayal of a very annoying, almost blackmailing woman. We know that John Bulmer requested a place in the household of Queen Catherine, but obviously I just think that again we are showing very young, immature, frivolous blackmailing. You know, like, there's just not good sides of any of these women. And obviously John was going to testify against Catherine when, you know, Catherine's going to be arrested for treason and for adultery. But here, it also, what's quite well done is that it gives you a glimpse into the life prior to Catherine Howard becoming queen. So here she's like, do you remember this? And, you know, don't talk about this. And so we have here that kind of tension where we know that Catherine Howard has a secret. What I just don't like is the fact that that secret of being intimate with other men prior to her marriage was probably known from other people at the time. I mean, again, we are playing with Catherine Howard's sexuality, appealing behavior to Henry, and somehow now it's like we're trying to transform her into a more suitable wife, when in reality she probably never was in the first place. And the fact that she's still treated as this frivolous, kind of stupid woman, but also, like, you know, there's almost a vibe, and we'll see more scenes like that where it's very high school, like the way she giggles and the way she, you know, behaves herself is so damn annoying to watch. And I think her downfall is, I mean, in many ways it does make you feel something, but they could have done such a better job to show how Catherine Howard was never given a chance really to have a happy, prosperous life, and I find it really sad. We have the introduction of Thomas Culpeper, who's going to be Catherine Howard's lover. I will discuss that a little. I believe that it's a bit more complex. I'm more with Ritha Warneke, the historian who worked on this, and when she looks at the letters, she made a very compelling argument that she thinks that maybe there's not much that actually happened, and there are myths around Catherine and Thomas Culpeper. But obviously there are other historians who believe that, you know, Catherine and Culpeper did what they did and were lovers. I just think that it is kind of a highly... I think that even if it happened, I still think that Catherine Howard's fate is unfair, and I still think that we should look at her in a way that is way more compassionate, basically. And I think here there's a real missed opportunity in that show to do that.
You with Waldegrave and Catherine with this Francis Derham.
Yes, that's how it was.
And what would these gentlemen do to you?
So here we have the big secret of Catherine Howard being shared, basically. Again, it's so cringy to watch because I just feel like there is so much more to say about Catherine Howard's past and how it is portrayed as if she wanted it, as if she was this manipulative, you know, who loved lust and all of this. I think there's just so much more to say and to portray Catherine Howard in a different light. It's so cringy to watch.
My beautiful daughter, Mary. Say hello to the Queen.
Madam?
Lady Mary, I'm very glad to see you back at court.
Thank you for my gifts. Your Majesty, as always, is more than generous.
Charles.
Absolutely love that scene. The way Mary is, the way she behaves, the way she's loved by her father. You see the tension with Catherine Howard. Mary has no respect for Catherine Howard. Very little. She's older, she's wiser, she's smarter. You get the picture. But I love that scene. I love how Princess Mary is so regal in that show. It's so well done. It's so well portrayed.
Lady Anne of Cleves, even though she is now just a private person and worth no account.
Forgive me, but surely the Lady Anne is worthy of every respect. She carries herself with great dignity and also modesty, and desires nothing more than to please the king, her lord.
Do you mean I do not try to please him?
I think you desire almost nothing else than pleasure. It pleases you, it seems, to do nothing but wear pretty clothes and dance. Some people may think that frivolous, in the consort of a king whose flesh is also sacred.
If His Majesty thought me any frivolous, why did he marry me?
You are thought capable of bearing sons. Unfortunately for all the king's attentions, I see you are still not pregnant. In any case, he will soon tire of you. You'll see.
And what about you?
And what about me?
I think you're jealous. You're jealous because you're much older than me and you're still not married. Perhaps you'll never be married and will grow old a maid.
I like and I don't like this scene, mostly because it's very, again, high school, mean girls, you know, ooh, you're jealous of me, and ooh, you know, like, but at the same time, I don't like the way Catherine Howard is portrayed. I think you got that. But what Princess Mary is telling Catherine Howard, it's probably true. It's probably how she really felt about her. Now, I don't really know if Catherine Howard was only interested in dancing and wearing pretty clothes, but that's the depiction we have in the Tudors. And what I love is like how she retaliates, though it's really mean. You're never married, you're jealous of me. And though there might be a bit of the truth here, I think attacking Princess Mary on this is quite hurtful. It's something that must have been playing on her mind a lot, why she was still not married, why her father did not do everything he could to marry his daughters. And it is just very cringy to watch. It's very painful. Obviously, Mary is going to be very sad about it. She's going to confide in Eustace Chapuis, the imperial ambassador. She's very upset. She truly is. And rightfully so. Because she really wants to get married. She really wants to have a life and a family. Veron. And I think that's like one of the tragic aspects of Mary's life.
So kind, Lady Anne, and my gracious lord.
That scene between, you know, Catherine Howard, Anne of Cleves and Henry is quite funny to watch, and actually there's a good one coming up about Anne of Cleves and Henry VIII.
You know what the French ambassador wrote about you? We intercepted his letter. He said that our people much regretted our divorce, and that in a short time you had won their love, and that they had esteemed you as one of the most sweet, gracious, and humane queens they had ever had.
You have another queen now.
Yes.
I like her. She is beautiful, of course, and very young and full of life. You must adore her.
And that's how you turn down someone with grace and intelligence. You have another wife. She's marvelous. I love her. She's young, she's fun, full of life. Enjoy your life. I just love that scene so much. I love that portrayal of Anne of Cleves. I mean, it's just so brilliant. There are some moving scenes about Princess Elizabeth when she appears with Anne of Cleves. She sees her father, they're very close. We see that Anne of Cleves is also a good type of mentor for Elizabeth, and I think that's been quite overlooked in when you look at Elizabeth's life. Yeah, I like the fact that we have such a nice scene with Anne of Cleves and Elizabeth. We also have like a dynamic between Elizabeth and Edward. Edward is quite young. But what I don't really like is the problem with the dates. There are 4 years difference between Elizabeth, who was born in 1533, and Edward, who was born in 1537. But here it's kind of like, it's almost like she's 12 and he's 3 or 4. And obviously that doesn't really work either, and it changes a bit of the dynamic. I think Elizabeth was a good sister, but really, do I think that, you know, she was kind of like really teaching Edward? Maybe not. I mean, I just think it's a bit more complex. It's a bit more different, and so that's just another thing that what I don't really like in season 4 of the Tudors. But having said that, I think Elizabeth is portrayed very sweet. She's not annoying, which is nice, because when you look at Becoming Elizabeth, and I made a video for you, you see what I mean. Though obviously Elizabeth is much older in Becoming Elizabeth, but I think when you look at Elizabeth's first years of her life, I think you really need to look at everything, and they've done quite a good job. It's not too bad. But here, obviously, Anne of Cleves is also someone who's still part of season 4, and I like this. I like that she's a sister of the king. I like that we see how she's thriving in Tudor England.
All shall be well. All manner of things shall be well. Benedictus Deus.
The real star of the show is definitely Mary, and we have that scene here with her father when we see the people loving Princess Mary, and we see that she's overshadowing, obviously, Queen Catherine, but in many ways she's overshadowing her own father, and I think that's probably why he didn't really want to put more attention on her with a prospective marriage. I think deep down Henry VIII was a bit jealous of his eldest daughter, and on how dignified and kind of, you know, so loved and so cherished by his people. And I think that scene is really remarkably well done in season 4. We have the scene of when Catherine, Howard and Culpeper are having a relationship. It's very hard to watch as well, but at the same time, many believe that it actually happened. And obviously it's going to lead to the downfall of Catherine Howard with that letter that is going to be put, you know, just under Henry VIII, and making sure that he knows that about her past and what actually happened.
The letter accuses Queen Catherine of dissolute living before she was married to Your Majesty, while she was living with the Dowager Duchess of Norfolk. There was two men, a music teacher named Henry Mannix and a gentleman called Francis Derham, and that her way of life was not a secret, that many knew of it.
So it's very cringy. We so see that Catherine Howard has this very difficult kind of scene with Thomas Culpepper where she's basically going to say, you know, you're one of many lovers, which I really don't think that was the truth. And I think she was just hurt by him asking who was this Francis guy coming, and him maybe being jealous. At least is what they want you to believe in the show. And here we have her like being defensive, really.
You don't think you're the only one, do you? I have a store of other lovers beside you. Now get out!
We have the downfall of Catherine Howard. We have again the ruthlessness of Henry VIII. I think that's a kind of a recurrent topic, a recurrent portrayal of Henry VIII throughout the show. And I think that part is really well done. I have no complaints whatsoever to make to the showrunners. I think it's really well done. It's also quite hard to watch. In this first part of season 4 of the Tudors, it is quite annoying to watch that we're trying to kind of always reproducing the same myth around the six wives. Though I have to say they do a good portrayal of Anne of Cleves that goes beyond the fact that she was ugly. She probably wasn't. But there were some missed opportunity, and please watch my season 3 part 2 review to understand what I mean by that. But otherwise, I think that with Catherine Howard, there's a missed opportunity to show her more as a victim than almost as a villain. You know, she's like attacking Mary. Maybe she did, maybe she did not. But there's really the state of Mean Girls, high school Mean Girls, that I think could have been completely avoided to make a maybe more just portrayal of these very young women who was pushed into the arms of probably one of the most cruel kings of England. I really hope you enjoyed that review, even though it was really hard for me to film, and I'll see you next time for another video. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Bye!